Now, the reason this is important is the Estonian bit, because I know you're not all Estonians, but the Estonian angle, because I live in Estonia, is Estonians love numbers, and they love measurability. And so that's actually quite important in online networking, and we'll see why later. So, excuse me while I fumble for my notes. I do need notes. We're going to be working today. It's called a workshop, so I'm really sorry if you're all hungover and everything, but you've got about 15 minutes to recover before you actually have to do some work. 2 hours isn't really enough to cover this subject. There's one element of online networking, and that's communication strategy, i.e. what to say, and that in itself is a day or two of understanding if you're not a communications person. But hopefully there'll be enough to inspire you, get you on the right track if you're not already on the right track, and you'll go away and think, yes, I really should be networking a bit more, and yes, I really should sort of have a look a little bit deeper into this. I've been in internet marketing for 15 years, one of the first in the UK and then one of the first in Estonia after that, about 7 years ago. I recently sold up my company, and so now I'm technically retired, writing a children's book, but I was dragged out of retirement to do this. And I do network still. I'm very interested in neuromarketing and neuroscience, and so I've been beginning my networking plan for neuromarketing peers. So I'm going to share my personal views rather than sort of something out of a book of the networking that I've done over the last 15 years and how it's helped and what maybe you can get from it. Oh. People do business with people. They don't do business with businesses. You don't do business with another business. You do business as a person with a person. It's a personal thing. And people tend to do business with people they like. And so if you're not very likable, then you're going to do less business than someone who is likable. Now, you might buy something from someone you don't like if you think you're getting a particularly good deal. But if you are not sure whether to go with this guy or this guy, then you're going to go with the one who tells the joke and wants a beer and is more friendly or is better looking or whatever, or knows some friends that you know and that sort of thing. So it's about one-to-one marketing, if you like. You know, when you're networking online, you're selling yourself. It's a little bit of prostitution going on. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be genuine. You should be genuine, but you are selling yourself. And so networking has an element of developing your personal brand equity, showing who you are online. And one of the things I just want to, the only time I'm going to mention Facebook today is now, to say that Facebook is not very good for business networking. So if you're using Facebook as your primary channel, unless you're in B2C and you're trying to network with end users, then it's not the best place to be. And be very, very careful what you put on Facebook, because people will check. I check as a matter of course when I'm doing business with a partner or hiring someone or a client. I check their Facebook straight away. So be careful what you put there, because it stays online forever. Even if you delete it, it's still in some archive somewhere, and you can guarantee for €9.99 in a few years' time you'll be able to access the archive of everything that's ever been online. So it doesn't disappear. You can scan through the list yourself. I'm not going to read it, but these are the main benefits, as I see them, of online networking. And some of them are pretty obvious. I think for Finns and Estonians, or non-English speakers, then the ability to practice your English language and improve it is quite important, because one of the failures I see in businesses who are trying to export is that they speak English pretty well, and so they don't involve a native speaker in the English production of the website or the sales material, etc. And so there's mistakes. You know, it's just, if you're not a native English speaker, it doesn't really matter how good your English is, you're probably going to make some mistakes, even if just a use of expressions. You know, the spell check, you run that, and then you do the grammar check, and then maybe you ask someone who's got a bit better English than you to read it, or an English friend, but he's not a proofreader, he's not a copywriter. So networking is a good way to practice your English as well. For me personally, the biggest benefits I've got are lead generation. I've generated, I don't know, several €100,000 worth of business over the last few years just through LinkedIn. It's quite easy to do, actually. And so the lead generation, there's opportunistic sales. And I'll tell you a quick story now then. I have about 600 or 700 people in my network in LinkedIn, and someone I noticed was looking for a really fast translation from Serbian to, I can't remember even what it was, Finnish or something, some texts. And not normally what I do, but I knew the guy, and I knew he needed it quick. Now, if I was just being friendly, I could have said, hey, go and talk to this guy over here, because I know another guy in my network who could solve this problem. But business isn't about friendship. Business is about making money. Hopefully in a friendly way, but if you're not in business to make money, you really should get out and go and start a charity or something like that, because business is about making money. And so what I did was just sit in the middle, and I said to the guy, well, what do you need? And he said, I need this translated. So I gave the text to the other guy. I said, how much is this going to cost? And he said, blah, blah, blah. I put 50% on the top, put the proposal out to the other guy, agreed some payment terms, bang, bang. 48 hours later, it was done, and I'd made €500 for about an hour's project management. So that was, you know, €500 an hour. Thank you very much. And that sort of thing is possible when you've got a big network. Just these opportunistic little things. And the third thing that I got was some enhanced credibility, I suppose. When people sort of look at your profile on LinkedIn or wherever, then they check you out and they see, oh, there's some recommendations, and he's a member of this group, and he's worked here, and la, 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 la. And they think, oh, well, you know, he must know what he's talking about, you know. So I got something like that out of it as well. So when you are starting off in networking, you really should have some targets. It's no good just to sort of sign up and go and just like start writing any old rubbish and just saying, oh yeah, we've launched a new product today, and then the next time we hired this person, and oh, we just got some funding. That's just pretty random, actually. You really should set some goals, and the goals should be SMART goals. If you're not familiar with SMART, then you can Google it. There is a link in some of the information you'll get. Access to this presentation. There's a link to Wikipedia's SMART, but it means specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely. And so one of the things we'll do in the workshop is you will set goals for yourselves. And the measurable bit is why I told the joke, for Estonians, so that you can put a number on things. You say, right, I'm going to have this many contacts, or this many leads, or whatever it might be. And timely, just mention the timely bit, that whatever goals you have, my view is that don't think more than about 3 months ahead in terms of your networking plan. Things change quite fast on the internet, as you know, and so to sort of have a year's plan is sort of pretty much ridiculous. 3 months is enough. Even 1 month is okay, but sort of 1 to 3 months plan, and then just sort of review on a roll. The exception to that, I would say, is that if you have an event coming up, Like, say, for example, you're a startup and you're not officially open yet, and so you know your launch date is, January the 15th, then your networking plan should run up to January the 15th. So, you might want to set an actual concrete date for a certain phase of your networking. Who to target? As I said before, we're targeting people. You're networking with people. So I talk about LinkedIn quite a lot as an example. There are other networks, and we'll have a look at some of those. But so one good thing you can do on LinkedIn is you can target people in different ways. By their job title, for example, or the geography. People in Tallinn or people in London. If you want to do business with people in London, you can search for people, marketing directors in London. And you get a list of marketing directors in London. So it's very easy to narrow your focus and decide who you want to target. It's quite important. Because you don't want to, I've got, as I said, 600 or 700 in my network in LinkedIn, but actually only 50 to 100 of those I'm active with. The rest of them is just like those Facebook friends of yours that aren't really your friends at all. It's just nothing happens. You can also target companies. Now, if you're in a business where you're going to have very few customers, someone spoke to me this morning saying that they had a potential client in the oil business, an oil company. Now, an oil company probably has hundreds of members of staff. It's probably got quite a wide and deep management structure. There's a lot of people influencing decisions within the group. There might be one decision maker, the guy you need the signature from, but you may never actually meet that person. It's like I made a contract with EAS, which I haven't actually signed yet, but I made a contract with EAS, but the name on the contract is not a person I know. I was dealing with other people. So if you're going to try and do business with a very big corporation, then maybe you want to identify who you might think be in the decision-influencing tree and network with all those people. And then when you make your approach, oh, yeah, I was talking to John the other day, in finance, and I know Michael in marketing, yeah. You already know these people a little bit. It's a little edge. And, less is more, basically. And you might be surprised, actually, within sort of groups that you already know, like in this room. Has everybody already connected with everybody here online? No. Well, that would sort of be quite a good start, isn't it? Because some of you are going to be superheroes, and it would be good for those of you who want to be superheroes to connect with the ones that are the superheroes. But because you don't know which ones they are, you've got to connect with everybody. And then when they're a rich millionaire and they've made it and their startup is flying, you can say, hey, you remember when we had that beer on Saturday night and you were really, really silly? Well, I've still got the photo. And, it could be useful. So where to find them? You have to think, once you've sort of decided where you want to network. I was sort of told that most of you are probably targeting UK, US, or maybe sort of within Europe, rather than sort of Asia or something where the rules are a bit different of networking in Asia. But so I've listed here in the presentation some of the major networking places. Now, every blog actually is a place to network that's relevant to your business because you can network through the comments. But here are quite a few sort of places, and these are all links, so you can Google any of these or you can link to these from the presentation. And one thing that people sometimes miss is the ones at the end here, the webinars and online conferences. There's quite a lot of free webinars on certain subjects now, and online conferences. So if you go to those, then the tip is basically hang around afterwards, like you would, in a normal real-world event. A lot of people watch the webinar and then they're gone because they've got something important to do. But that's when the networking starts, actually. It's about 5% of people stay on and they chat and talk to the speaker, you know, read his bio, get a bit of information, network with the speaker a bit. And so don't ignore online conferences and webinars. These are actually quite fertile territories. What to say? Now, this is the bit, actually, that you could spend a day or two working on, because you're talking about communication strategy, you're talking about content strategy, how to define different objectives for different target audiences, what goals you have, what you want from them, how you're going to get it, what you're going to say in order to get it. And so this area we'll only have very short time on, unfortunately, but what to say is like pretty critical. You need to think very carefully. And again, remember that when you put something online, it's online forever. You can't rub it out. So if you say something stupid or some bullshit, it's going to come back and hit you. So be careful what you say. Think before you write. With LinkedIn, I would say that for those of you active on LinkedIn, consider the in-mail as well. Everyone uses the link, or not everyone, but most people use the LinkedIn free service. But the paid service allows you to make direct contact into the inbox of somebody. Well, they can't sort of block you. So you want to contact the managing director of Shell and get your pitch in, or tell him something, or offer him something, or ask him something. The only way you can actually guarantee to get into the inbox and get seen is with the in-mail. So that's worth considering as well. In general, I would say that, you know, when you're communicating with people for the first time and you're making that initial contact, then, you know, be chatty, be friendly. You don't have to go straight to business, you know, in a sort of like intense way. You can be a little bit personal. Keep the sort of, at the same time, you have to sort of keep the business and personal separate, but you can be friendly. You know, just be friendly and open when you initially make contact. And the other thing is to remember that business is easier in the real world. I mean, face to face. That's the best way to do business. When you're sitting down, you can read the body language, you can get yourself across. It doesn't help people who are shy. If you're a shy person, then really online networking is very important to you, because if you're a bit intimidated by talking to a crowded room or walking into a boardroom full of decision makers, and that intimidates you a bit, then online networking is even more important for you. But actually, what you should try to do is meet as many of these people, your real targets that you network with, meet them in real life. Go to events like this, shake hands, swap business cards, find out what people want, help them get what they want, hope that they help you get what you want, etc. So that's sort of the main bit of how to sort of network. But ultimately what you want to do is have your own network in some way, where you're the expert, you're the focus. You already know, you've built up your circle, you've got your ex-contacts, you know everyone in the business sort of thing, you're connected in some way, you've got a bit of respect, a bit of credibility, you know, you've got a bit of experience, people trust you a bit, and then you can launch something. Because then you probably have found a gap at that point, that there isn't a group or a list or a community website that focuses on this bit of what I'm interested in, you know, that it's missing. So you could start an email list, you could start a little community website, or a magazine, or a blog, or a LinkedIn group, and you would then own the community in some way. And that will give you even more credibility and a lot more power when you start asking for things. When you want help, when you want customers, when you want staff, when you want ideas. So that's the end of the opening presentation. Thank you very much. And